Hi everyone, welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Today's video is all about my plans, goals and schemes for 2023. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name's Alice and I have way too many books. And a very happy new year to everyone. This is going to be my first video of 2023 and it's also going to be all of my plans for 2023. So last year I set myself 5 main goals, and first of all in this video we're going to see whether I achieved any of those 5 goals. And after that, I'm going to talk about what my sort of non-goal goals are for 2023. I've decided to be quite casual about my reading in 2023. So these goals are more like sort of plans rather than actual set in stone numerical goals. What were my goals for 2022? My main overarching goal for the whole year was to get my giant TBR down to 150 books, and I believe I started the year on about 191 books, something like that. And I'm actually going to keep you in suspense for this goal because I always wrap up my giant TBR numbers at the end of each month in my wrap up, and I will be filming my wrap up later today for December, and I will be revealing the final number for 2022 in that video. But sneaky peek, I don't think I made it to 150. If you've been watching every month, you'll know that I ended November on 169 books. I definitely didn't read 19 books or unhaul 19 books in December. So that pretty much answers that goal question. I did not achieve that one. My second goal was to read 52 books from the giant TBR. I'm confident that I've done this one. I wanted to read that as like 1 book a week from the giant TBR. And looking back over some of my wrap-ups from 2022, there were some where I read sort of 8 books from the giant TBR in a month. There were other months when I read only 4, but that was fine. And I think there was one month where I only read 3 from the giant TBR, but that is sort of made up for by other months. So I achieved that one. And goal number 3 was where I started to get quite specific. So I wanted to read 5 more new to me books from Penguin's Greatest 100 Books. And this was voted for by readers, I believe. I will link the article in the description down below if you want to see what I was working with. I did achieve this. I read exactly 5 books from that list. And those were number 82 on the list, The Sea by Iris Murdoch, which I read with Sandy's lovely book club, the 1001 book club. I read the number 49 on the list, also the longest book I read this year, The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandra Dumas. And I buddy read The Count of Monte Cristo with Gemma from Gemma Books and Fraser from Fraser Simon's Springboard Thought. Another book I read from that list was the number 23 on the list, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey. I read this with AJ Dunn's Killer Reads Thriller Month Book Club. I also read the number 8 book on this list, I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. I read this in November and December with my own book club, the FOMO Book Club, which I run with Jack from Spread Bookjoy and Gemma from Gemma Books. And all of the details, if you want to join in with reading some books we've missed out on, are in the description down below. Finally, I read the number 1 book on Penguin's all-time greatest books list, Pride and Prejudice. And I read this for Jane Austen July. It was my first read of this book, and I wouldn't say it is my favourite Jane Austen, but I know that it is a lot of people's favourite Jane Austen. So I did achieve that goal. I did not achieve goal number 4, which was to read 5 new to me Shakespeare plays. I, at the last minute of the year, have managed to achieve reading 1. That was Hamlet, which was meant to be my Shakespeare read, but I ended up finishing it in December. So I have now read Hamlet at last, but I haven't read 5 Shakespeare plays this year. And my 5th goal for the year was to read a new release or a best book from 2021 every month. And I did quite well with this. There was only one month in the year where I ended up reading only one new release. That was October, but every single other month in the year I read more than one, either new release or a book from 2021. In my most prolific month, July, I actually read 8 new releases or books from 2021. So I'm really, really pleased with my progress on doing this. I don't think that in 2023 I need to set myself a goal like this, because I feel like I read quite a good balance in the end in 2022 of new releases and backlist books. So I'm happy with that. So what are my thoughts for 2023? What am I planning to read? What am I planning to do? So you will have already seen, hopefully, my 23 classics for 2023 and my 23 crime and thrillers for 2023. So obviously that gives me quite a lot of reading material to choose from in the first place, but I do have some other plans as well. So my biggest plan, and this one actually I would describe as a goal or a challenge, this is going to be my mission for the first few months of the year. I plan to read 30 books that I already own before I buy any new books. So I'm going to be technically joining in with the Read What You Own challenge. This started out on BookTube as the 100 book challenge from Criminoli, and I will not be doing that. But I would like to get out of the way quite a lot of books that I already own and not get tempted in, not get FOMO, not buy any books until I've read a chunk of my bookshelf. That is my first aim for the year. I don't really have many caveats to this. I have sort of been doing this already with my giant bookshelf, but I have definitely been reading too many library books and so on in 2022. So I'm going to try and limit myself to one library book a month initially, see how that goes. And I do want to get through quite a few books that my mum owns, that are on my mum's shelves, that she's been saving for me. So that might become a bit of a feature each month, because I'd like to read one book from her bookshelves every month. And I have picked one for January. Those books will not count into my challenge because they're not on my own bookshelf. I've gone backwards and forwards on this, but I won't be counting audiobooks I already own, because I obviously do count audiobooks as books, but they're not physical books that are taking up room on the giant TBR. So I'm only going to count books that are on the giant TBR for this challenge. If I want to take part in something that I do not already have the book for, my only options are going to be, first port of call, try and get it for free on the Libby app or Borrow Box, and secondly, try to get it in the library. As an absolute last resort, I could spend a credit to get it on audiobook, but I don't really want to do that too often. So let us hope that I can read 30 books from my own shelves before I decide I have massive FOMO and need to join in with something. Where do I want the giant TBR to get to? Well, first of all, I definitely do want to hit that 150 mark, and I hope to achieve that in these first couple of months when I'm doing this challenge, so stay tuned for that. Once I reach 150, I would really, really like, and this has been a goal for ages, I would really like the giant TBR to be down to 100 books overall. I'm not too fussed, as I've said a lot of times on this channel, about getting a 0 TBR. That's not the point where I think I will have a healthy amount of books that I am happy with. What I want to achieve is for the giant TBR to be more reflective of my current interests, because there are a lot of books on there that I've had for a very long time and that I'm not sure I'm still interested in. So I will still be doing try chapters, I will still be trying to unhaul books as we go along, but I think when the giant TBR is down to 100 and below, I will feel much happier with the amount of books that I own that I haven't read. So an overarching background goal, maybe not to be completed this year, but we can hope, is to get the giant TBR down to 100 books. To achieve this, I definitely need to read at least 52 books from the giant TBR, one a week. So I'm going to make that my third goal. And the rest of my non-goals are plans and schemes. So I've already talked about I would like to read a book a month from my mum's shelf. I would also really like to try and read non-fiction every month. I did really, really badly on reading non-fiction in 2022. Starting in January, I really do want to rectify this, and I would really like to make it a goal to read at least one non-fiction book every month. I would also like to try and read a book set in another country or by an author from another country every single month, just to increase the variety of what I'm reading, and hopefully I won't be cheating and it won't also be an author from the USA, unless it's set somewhere else, that's fine. A very wishy-washy goal is I would like to read more sci-fi and fantasy. I'm not necessarily incorporating that into every single TBR, but it's an ongoing plan in the back of my mind. Channel plans and book clubs and things that I plan to join in with this year. I will of course be still running the FOMO book club in 2023. We still have 5 more books left on our list of books we feel that we missed out on, and we will be starting Jamaica by Daphne du Maurier in January and February, and if you'd like to see what other books we plan to read, check those out in the description down below. I also still intend, and I mentioned this in my crime and thrillers video, I still intend to participate in the Killer Reads Thriller Month book club. This is run by AJ Dunn Reads and Writes, and they have set this up so that we are reading, I think it's 65 actually, of Penguin and Random House's best thrillers of all time, and I'll be joining in reading all of the books that I haven't read yet on this list, so that's another plan. I also plan to join in with Gemma from Gemma Books Agatha project. Gemma has started an Agatha Christie project inspired by my top 12 Hercule Poirot books, as well as Gemma finding out if she likes mysteries and if she likes Agatha Christie, and whether she agrees with my top 12. I also want to see if I agree with my own top 12. So the ones I haven't reread already, I will be rereading in order to talk with Gemma at some points throughout the year and join in with this epic project. As part of this, I also will be joining in Christie Fest, which is run by Julie and Lil, and I'll link their details in the description down below. They read one Christie book every month, and I don't think I will be able to join in every single month, but I will be joining in for some of the books that I really do want to reread. The other 2 book clubs I want to join in are both run by BookTube with Amy and Angie's Book Chatter, and the first one of those that I'm going to be joining in is called Fiction Addiction, which I absolutely love the name of, and this is starting in January. They're reading the book Mayflies, which I'm not able to join in with because I don't own this book, but I do own February's pick, The Anomaly, and I will be reading that with them. So I'm looking forward to finding out what other picks they have later in the year. I also would again like to join in with some of the reads that Sandy has picked out for her 1001 book club, so maybe more on that later in the year. Here on my channel, I intend to continue with my Reader's Guide to series. This is a series all about my favourite characters. Mostly it's from crime and thrillers and their book series. So I've done one on Hercule Poirot, I've done one on Sherlock Holmes, Miss Marple, and of course Jack Reacher. So there will be more to come in the new year from this series, and I'm hoping to cover a lot more crime and thriller series that I've loved. I will also be intending to read, as I did this year, at least the shortlist for the Women's Prize. I'd like to join in and try and read more of the long list this year too, so March, April could be very busy months with that, and I have signed up again to judge the BookTube prize, so busy. I don't know when exactly I will judge the BookTube prize yet, but I've signed up for the category of fiction, and today is the 1st of January, so I'm really looking forward to getting through the long list and having a look through the best fiction of 2022. The other thing I've done on my channel quite sporadically is the TBR tin. The TBR tin actually does contain books that I've had for the longest. You may not have seen this too much on the channel because I usually have TBRs that are so large I haven't been able to draw many books out of here. It started off sort of mid-year last year with around about 45 books in it, and they were all books that, shockingly, I had owned since 2010 or before. So those are very long-serving residents of my TBR. There's about 38 left in here, so I will be choosing things out of the tin when I've got a smaller TBR. A lot of the time something from this list will be incorporated into the month's TBR anyway. That will continue on the channel, whether in the background or a bit more prominently. I think that's everything for my plans, goals and schemes for this year. I'm sure more will come up in the course of the year because I am a serial joiner in and I cannot help myself. I get FOMO. I have set my numerical goal at 85 books for the year, even though I did read over 170 books this year in total. And the reason for setting it a bit lower is because I don't want to actually place any pressure on reading whatsoever. Reading is just something that I do for fun, and if I read over 100, I'll be delighted. But if I read a lot less than this year, I will not be surprised because I did so much reading in 2022. So it will be no surprise if reading goes down in 2023. That's all from me today. I wish you all the very best start to 2023 and I hope it's a fantastic reading year for you. If you have enjoyed this video today, please do give it a like. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. Please do let me know in the comments, do you have any bookish plans or schemes for 2023? Are you joining in with any of the book clubs I mentioned? And did you meet any of your bookish goals in 2022? If you had any, do chat to me in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and I do hope you will join me again soon for another video all about books here on Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Bye for now.